Well, hello, I'm here with Doug to talk about white hatting and other things. And it is Tuesday, November 25, 2025. And I think this is the most amazing story. Um, this group called Watchtower publishes these amazing articles where they found things. They have a new one, which is awesome. And I realized this is exactly what I've done for years, white hatting, this disgraceful thing where you find people's vulnerabilities that without them asking, and then you try to tell them and they ignore you. And what they did this time, you may remember Pastebin back in the day. I don't know if people still use it, but people would post all this stuff on Pastebin, and everything you pasted up there was public. And a bunch of
Right.
people would push confidential stuff up there like passwords and things. Well, the new version of this is something called JSON Formatter and Code Beautify. You can paste your code and it will make your code beautiful. And boy, both of those come from the same developer apparently. And it looks like a really big business. Like the Code Beautify seems to have like 100 different languages and stuff on there. And apparently a lot of people are using it. And if you use it, you can choose to save it in the cloud, and then it makes a shareable link, and then it adds it to a list of recent links. And so it ends up being the same thing as Pastebin. And so they just wrote code to scrape it, and they found everything in there: Active Directory credentials, code repository credentials, database credentials. And they found them from critical national infrastructure, government, finance, tech, aerospace. And then they spent months trying to tell these people. And of course, nobody listens and nobody cares, which I can tell you. I've done tons of this white hatting. And so the uh, general recommendation in the industry is if you find a vulnerability somewhere, don't do anything. Just let them get hacked. That is probably the way to solve the problem because they will never listen to anybody until they get hacked. Anyway, it's very good work, and it's amazing to me. I thought people probably shouldn't be using these online beautifiers anyway because you don't know where the data goes, but they explicitly save it and share it with the world, and it's full of secrets. So this is pretty appalling, and they have, their usual very entertaining blog explaining all this. Um, and I realized the same thing. In fact, I've been doing it again this week. I audited like 500 or 600 iOS apps this week.
Okay.
I found like 13 of them with obvious, ridiculous security flaws. And I sent letters to them. But I mean, I've given up all hope of anybody fixing anything. I just notify them so they can ignore me for 30 days and then I can use it for homework. Uh, but I was amazed in the last batch, which were Android apps, I found maybe a dozen vulnerable Android apps, and one of them actually fixed it. And it was a psychic reading app. I thought if anybody's complete idiots, it would be them. But one of them actually fixed the problem. I gave it to a student, and he said, "Hey, this doesn't work anymore. What happened?" I'm like, "You mean that somebody actually fixed it?" Anyway,
Well, Sam, don't you get it? The psychics knew.
well, the other thing, this in iOS, I found an app that was using broken SSL, and it was a
Yeah.
security app. And the
Okay.
developer actually replied. I've had this happen a couple times. He replied saying, "It's encrypted. What's wrong with this?" In fact, I remember a while ago there was plain text authentication, and someone replied saying, "Well, what's this thing called SSL? What are you talking about?" And they're a developer of an
Uh,
app. And I found two current apps in the iOS ecosystem that use plain text authentication, which I thought Apple made impossible like 8 years ago. And they even say if you try to decrease anything from the default TLS encryption, it will flag our security team. We will audit your app. Well, that doesn't seem to be true, at least not infallibly. There's two apps that have plain text passwords going over the internet, so it's still happening. Anyway, I
all
even I
right.
even quit teaching my students that because I said, "Oh, nobody's doing that anymore." That's like I used to have attacking WEP, and I took that down, saying, "Well, that doesn't matter anymore." But maybe I'm wrong. Anyway,
All right. Since we're talking about apps and we're talking about
yeah,
what
yeah.
are we talking? Encryption? Well, not encrypting data,
These
right?
guys are just publishing their secrets publicly in plain text for everyone to see. It's
Yeah. Well,
worse
let
than
me give you,
encryption.
Sam, can I share the opposite one with you?
Oh yeah.
Okay. One of the world's premier secure organizations has canceled the results of its annual leadership election.
Oh yeah,
Have
I
you heard
saw that.
about
The
this?
cryptographers. Yes, that was a good story.
The International Association of Cryptographic Research, IACR, said Friday that the votes were submitted and tallied using Helios, which is an open source voting system, that uses peer review cryptography to cast and count votes in a verifiable, uh, confidential, and privacy preserving way. Helios encrypts each vote in a way that assures each ballot is secret. Other cryptographic used by Helios allows each voter to confirm their ballot was counted fairly. And what do you need to decrypt encrypted data?
Obviously, the key.
And what happens if you don't have the key, forgot it, didn't write it down, don't know what it is?
You're hosed.
And the election is hosed because
Yes.
somebody forgot to
Oh, I thought
write
it,
down the key or they lost the key.
no,
Oops.
I thought it was even better. They split the key among three people, but they
Oh,
made
is
it
that?
so all three of them have to bring in their chunks of the key, and one of them lost it. That's when they said, so they apparently discovered fault tolerance. They said, oh, we changed it so two out of the three is enough. Which is, this is the number one thing encryption always does is lock your own users out of their data. And then you discover you have to think about what happens in fault. So, I mean, they're slowly maturing like everybody. I mean, I remember when they brought out
Right,
encryption, everybody encrypted
right.
everything. Then they kept getting locked out. Then people forget their passwords. They say, oh, you have to have some way to recover when that happens. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Per the bylaws, three of
Yeah,
the members of the election committee act as independent trustees
right.
to prevent two of them from colluding to cook the books or cook the
Well,
votes.
now this is very common. Your cryptographic experts will go way too far in making their cryptography super secure and not consider the real world pitfalls. This is why, this is a big part of learning to be a security professional is to understand, like you'll tell your company, no, you must not do that. And they'll say, go to hell. We have to do this to make our money. We're going to do this risky thing. Your job is to lower the risk, not to tell us
Yeah,
to stop doing every risky thing and do everything perfectly. We have to get the job done. And to get the job done, you have to take some degree of risk.
right, right, right.
That's the hard for people to
Well,
get. Yeah.
this reminds me, this was decades, probably a decade or more ago.
Yeah.
It was the psychics were having a convention
Yeah.
and they had to cancel it because after everybody had booked reservations and everything, why did they cancel it? It was for unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah. Well, yep.
Aren't you a psychic and supposed to know that in advance?
Well, uh,
Okay.
I remember this is why I have a t-shirt. I have a Lumosity t-shirt. I told them about a vulnerability. And they were one of the very few companies that actually listened to me, gave an intelligent response and fixed it, and then sent me a bug bounty in the form of a t-shirt. And their product is this video game you play that's supposed to make you smarter, which I understand is complete bullshit, but I can't argue with the fact that they do seem to be smarter than all the other companies out there. I notified hundreds of others, and they didn't fix it and didn't listen to me. So maybe it's from playing their video games that they got smart. Anyway, uh,
All right, let's keep going here. What
yeah,
else we
yeah.
got here?
Well, let's see. The other one was Microsoft finally admits that all major Windows 11 core features are broken. You know,
Oh, I saw that.
I've been
Yeah.
helping students that use Windows, and it is just horrible. I mean, Windows is such crap that every project that's easy on the Mac or Linux is like hours of struggling and suffering on Windows because Windows is such crap. But anyway, apparently they broke everything with the July 2025 update, having to do with their extensible application markup language. And this impacts the Start menu, taskbar, Explorer, and Windows settings. None of that stuff has worked right since July. So Windows is
Yeah.
even more broken than usual. So, and there's another big one, really. This thing called Shy Halud. Um, this is an online attack in progress, compromising the supply chain of NPM packages and also GitHub and other code repositories, I think. But 800 NPM packages and tens of thousands of GitHub repositories. And it came in two waves. And the name that the malware authors invented the name because it creates a GitHub action runner named SHA1 Halud. So maybe this means something in Arabic or something. But anyway, they're infecting things. It's spreading like crazy. And now the second wave, what it does is it takes over your repository, it attaches malware to all your code, And if it cannot find a way to spread, then it deletes everything in your home directory just to punish you. So it's not only spreading, and by the way, it downloads TruffleHog, which is open source. I should add a project where students use TruffleHog. TruffleHog searches your GitHub repository for secrets. So they use this open source tool, which is of course intended for defenders to use to search their own. But once you own a repository, once you're in someone's repository, it's the handy way to steal all the secrets. And then if they don't find any good secrets, they just destroy everything. So it's spreading. And like I say, this goes along with the previous story. Since people are leaving API keys and secrets just in the public everywhere, that's how they can get in. And once they're in, they just steal whatever secrets they find there and move on. So this is the modern spreading worm through the supply chain. It
Yeah.
makes me very nervous. If you're writing code, you have to use libraries, but all those libraries come from these online repositories that are just not secure worth a damn. It makes you sort of wish that you weren't using open source and everything was being like paid for and restricted and monitored. But even Microsoft uses open source libraries like NPM. I really don't know what you can do. Um, I think there are a couple commercial products that claim to notice. Oh, one thing you can do, by the way, which is a good recommendation, is if you just configure your products to not update the libraries until 1 week after the change is made, that would help a lot because they say the malicious changes are usually detected and fixed quickly. So just being a week behind on all your library updates would make you a lot safer. They call that a dependency cooldown, and that might be a good
Yeah.
plan for the time being. Anyway, um, I think this is a big problem, and it's going to get worse because we're all trusting those open source repositories of libraries, and we shouldn't, but there's no good alternative. Anyway, like I was
So,
saying
so
earlier, there's a certain calculated risk you have to take in order to get anything done.
right, right, right. So, did you see Elon Musk's social media site X has rolled out a new feature in an effort to increase transparency? Everybody wants transparency, right?
Well, not
So, what do
exactly.
we find out?
Yep. We found out that all the MAGA influencers are from foreign nations.
But we knew that, didn't we?
Yeah,
We had
apparently, this
we
was no, they say this
suspected.
was rolled out on Facebook years ago and nobody cares.
Right.
And maybe Elon was going to buy Twitter. He said, I'm not going to buy it because of all the bots. And then when he got in there, he said, I'm going to mark government run propaganda outlets like NPR. Since they get money from the government, they're clearly a government run propaganda outfit.
Yeah.
And he
Eh,
updated Grok again. So now Grok, if you ask Grok anything about Elon Musk, it will say Elon Musk is not only the smartest man that ever lived, he's also the strongest man in better shape than LeBron James and better athlete and perfect in every way. So obviously he got tired of it criticizing him and had them update it to say that he's the most wonderful. He's smarter than Einstein, smarter than Newton. It's just ridiculous what he keeps doing. And so this rollout, what I heard was he rolled out the tool to identify the country of origin of accounts, and immediately people discovered that most of the right-wing influencer accounts are from like Nigeria and Asia and stuff. So he took it back, saying, "Oh, there's a problem with that tool. I'm going to have to fix it." And he's going to bring it out again, and I imagine he'll just tweak it so it tells some kind of lie that pleases him.
right,
He gives a
right.
damn about the truth, like the Epstein files. I mean, what they're going to put out is going to be, gee, guess what? He only had Democratic friends, like Trump said. There's no Republicans in here. See, I wonder why it took us 6 months to prepare these files.
Yeah. Well, likewise, did you catch this story that confused Trump's? He's what, almost 80, coming along.
Yeah,
But he mistakenly amplifies calls to impeach himself.
I saw that. That's pretty good. Well, it's clear that he's on his phone and he's retweeting things without really reading them. That happens a lot.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
a lot of his
yeah.
public statements where people say they're evidence of dementia, what's going on is he's too proud to wear glasses and he can't see the teleprompter, especially when it rains. So he's putting the wrong words everywhere because he can't. That's what's going on a lot. He's often saying a word that's kind of close but wrong because he's trying to read a teleprompter without glasses.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I don't wear glasses.
Yeah.
And sometimes I make the same mistake.
Yeah.
Or to be fair, sometimes the autocomplete uh,
Yeah.
puts up something else or substitute a different word for what I want
Yeah.
or what I intend.
Yeah. Well, my vision's not that good, but it's kind of funny. When a student asks me for help, I look at their screen. They always have this tiny little low contrast font.
Right.
Can't see a damn thing. I have to bend over until my eyes are like 1 inch from the screen to even see what they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess they're younger with sharper eyes. Even with my
Yeah.
glasses, my vision's not that good. Anyway,
Yeah, I can read things if there's enough light, but
yeah,
Apple is probably one of the worst. Their serial numbers, at least in the past, the case would be a silver or kind of like a dark silver, and
yeah,
they'd use a light brown. And even in the brightest light, and the font was 8 point.
yeah,
So Apple would call and say, "What's your serial number?" And I'd struggle
yeah.
under fluorescent lights and other type of lights, LED lights. The colors would just kind of blend, so there wasn't the contrast there.
Yeah, this happens a lot. One thing that helps
Yeah.
often is take a photograph with my phone and then blow that up.
Right, right. That's what I have to do. But I'm on the phone.
Yep. Yep.
So anyway, here, have you ever heard of Roblox?
Is it a
Roblox.
game, I think? Roblox or something?
Yeah, it's one of the most popular kids app in the world is now requiring children as young as 9 years old to submit a video selfie for age verification.
Isn't it? I don't know what it is. Is it where you build things like Lego or what?
I don't know. I'm gonna say so.
Yeah, I hear, well, I hear about these online games that are incredibly popular, and I don't know enough to know what they are.
Yeah.
I mean, what could possibly be objectionable anyway?
Yeah, so they were getting criticized for not adequately protecting children. First announced the upcoming verification process several months ago.
Well, one thing I have heard is that children mostly communicate by using the chat features inside these games. And therefore,
Right,
there's a bunch of pedophiles in there picking up kids, and that might be what they're worried about. Not the game itself, but the.
right. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Well, that
yeah,
does make
yeah.
sense.
Yeah, so the company is using video selfies to access chat features and are deleted after the check is complete.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. It's
Yeah.
if you make sure there's nobody in there, the main thing would be to make sure there's no adults in there, I think, for safety.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
Yeah, but I do think the whole internet is and the whole society is gradually waking up to the problems with arbitrary access to the internet. I don't think, and the best solution I guess we have is age gating, but that's a pretty crude measure.
Yeah, that's going to be a difficult one. There was a teacher in Berkeley High School over in Berkeley, California, and she was on the phone with Nigerian scammers. And the scam that was running is that she didn't show up for court. And it was, I think, either, this gets even crazier. It was either the Oakland police or Berkeley police had a warrant for her arrest, and they were going to come out and arrest her immediately unless she posted bond.
Yeah.
And so they kept her on the phone for hours, and she depleted her entire life savings
Oh
of
yeah.
around 65, $85,000.
Yeah, I've heard of this. I heard another one like in I think an Asian country like Thailand or something. They targeted a monk and held him on the phone for like 3 days, convinced that the police were going to arrest him and stuff. It's I can believe it. I mean, you get some official looking notice. Uh,
But Sam, who runs the courts? Who is the law enforcement authority in the court system? Is it the police department?
well, I think so. I mean, they
No,
issue
it's
like a
the
bench warrant.
sheriff. It's the sheriff's.
I wouldn't know that.
Oh, okay, okay.
I mean, I guess
All right.
I thought when they issue a warrant, like a bench warrant, the police can arrest you for that. That's what they run
No,
your.
well, right. The police can arrest you, but it's the
Yeah.
sheriff's department that oversees law enforcement for the courts.
I have no idea what the difference is between the two, and I bet most people are like
Okay,
one
okay.
cop is like another to me.
Well, Sam, you haven't gotten enough tickets.
Apparently not. Well, this one's pretty good.
Okay.
The detectives have asked for the public's help to identify ATM jackpotting suspects. And this is in Fair Oaks, which I think might be in California. I don't know.
Yeah, it's Southern
Yeah.
California.
Yeah. So this is
Or
very,
no, 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 sorry, Sacramento.
okay, because this is very interesting. On October 3rd of this year, at
Yeah,
10:18 p.m., an unknown individual approached a drive-up ATM and they used a key to open the machine and they couldn't quite see what he did in there. Then the same individual came back the next day around midnight driving and opened the ATM. And then around 1 a.m., two suspects arrived in the same Jeep and accessed the machine for 15 minutes while appearing to record it with their phones. And at 2 a.m., another subject from the same Jeep came in and started withdrawing cash without inserting a card or touching the ATM. He held a phone towards the machine while removing cash and just pumped out the money. So they did something to an ATM machine. Made them jackpot it with a cell phone. So it's very interesting. They opened it and managed to insert something, I would imagine like a USB key or something connected to some kind of Wi-Fi. They figured out how to do it. This is one of the famous, things we'd like to see. How could you just get the ATM to cough out the cash? Apparently, they've got it working. This reminds me
yeah,
of the videos I've seen of people that can just open a car with some kind of wireless device and steal it.
yeah. But if you're able to open, I'm just talking out loud
Yeah,
here. I don't know the design of an ATM, but if you're able to open the ATM and access to insert a USB stick or something, why
yeah.
can't you just take the cash?
I don't know exactly, but I think the cache is behind another lock, a tougher lock. I think the to open the front panel,
Okay.
I think it's just a round key like a paper towel dispenser kind of thing. But I don't really know. I mean, I guess I haven't seen that. I don't know exactly how this works, but it does suggest that there is some electronic cyber attack that jackpots the ATM, and that would be very interesting to learn about.
And why is there no alarm system? Not a silent alarm.
Well,
Um,
it sounds to me like they're just using the surveillance records to know this information. So the camera is there recording people, but there isn't an alarm because how would they know you're not the official technician opening it, fixing something?
well, what it wasn't it at 2 in the morning?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
they could detect that, but I mean, I think most ATMs don't have any intelligent alarm system. They just have a camera that records things.
yeah, yeah, I know, but you would think that I mean, shoot, Sam, you've worked in data centers.
Yeah.
The doors to the racks, some of them have alarms on them.
I
You're not
didn't know that.
supposed to go in. Yeah.
Well,
Or they can.
they can't. And I guess
Um,
you could. I assume the ATMs, especially the ones built into a bank, um, don't don't have that because they figure they're secure enough by other features. But anyway, it'd be interesting to know how they jackpotted the ATM. I know I've seen other people that just like stick a chain to the ATM and rip it out of the wall and drive it away with a truck to like break in with an acetylene torch or something. That's the low tech version.
right, right. We've seen that happen.
Yeah,
And I'd have to ask if they can get into one lock.
yeah.
It seems to me is the other lock, and I'd agree with you. I think it's a double lock, so to get to the money, it makes sense. You have to have another key,
Yeah,
and
because I think you have like one key for the electronic technician who needs to fix it,
yeah,
and a separate
and
key
one
for
for
the
the
guy who is
money,
trusted to take out the money.
right? Or replenish the money,
And
right?
that's in
Yeah.
some kind of like safe type lockbox inside there.
Um, One would think that if you can pick the lock to get in, even though it's a different lock to access the money, why don't you just pick that?
Well, I don't know. But anyway,
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
yep.
yeah.
I would
What you're
also think,
saying is
yeah,
that they did it.
yeah, I would
And we've
also
got it
think,
all on video.
yeah, if I was running a bank, I wouldn't worry too much. I would just limit the amount of cash in the thing. Like maybe only have like five or $10,000 in there, and that's not a big
Oh, I
operation.
think they only have 3,000.
I don't know. Every person takes out like 300. Uh, I have, I
No.
don't. Oh man, I thought anyway. I don't know. I would think that you'd need a lot more than that for overnight. But anyway, I don't really know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Here, Sam, AI to the rescue here. ATM can hold anywhere from, this is amazing to me, anywhere from 10,000 to $200,000.
right. I believe on a busy night, you'd need 30,000 anyway. 100 people
Really?
taking $300 out each. I bet you'd get that in a busy night.
Okay.
Anyway.
news to me. I guess, yeah, I guess it depends how often you fill it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. Anyway,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
so
That's a lot more than I thought. A
yeah,
lot more than I thought.
and you might know about this at Microsoft Ignite. Microsoft and GitHub have previewed a new tool that identifies, prioritizes, and fixes vulnerabilities with AI. So I guess we'll see how well it works. But this is like what Jen Easterly said a couple of weeks ago. She said AI is going to eliminate all the vulnerabilities, so the whole security industry will end as we know it, because everybody will fix all their code with AI. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
okay.
Well, the tool exists. I guess we're going to find out how good it is as people test it out. But if you had a good AI coder that could find vulnerabilities and fix them, that would be a game changer. I
Right.
expect it to not be so great, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
We will see.
Yep.
We will see.
You got any others?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Let's take a look here. There was a teacher. This is in San Jose or Silicon Valley, San Jose, one of the cities down there.
Yeah. Sunny
And
Davis.
here's the story. Her husband got a job, and I believe initially they were from the East Coast. And she was a teacher. She got her California teaching credential. She started teaching in California. They moved from East Coast and they started working here. And I believe that the police came to the school and arrested her. And she's like, why are you arresting him? Me. And they said, well, Mary Smith is, I'm making up the name, but it's something common like Mary Smith. She gets arrested, and they said there's a warrant out for your arrest from, I don't know, 3, 4 years ago. And she said, you mean the warrant was from 4 years ago? And the police says, yes, absolutely. Here's your name. We've arrested you. And she said, and why? It's because that was on the teaching credential. That's what triggered it, the California teaching credential. And she said, well, 4 years ago, that wasn't my name. I wasn't married yet. They said, well, that doesn't matter. We still have the right person. Your name is Mary Smith today, and
Yeah.
we need to arrest you. And they arrested her.
Yeah.
So it took several months, and she lost a couple tens of thousands of dollars. She cleared it up. And when it turns out, is when California, Sam, you've had to do this. You teach, you get your fingerprints
Oh, yeah.
and everything, right?
Background check, drug test, all
Background
kinds of
check,
things.
yeah. What it says is this this may not be, I can't believe this. This may not be, and I'm paraphrasing here, the actual person, but we pull from multiple sources of data based on the name. And some information, they don't say this, but may be incorrect or inaccurate. So they're kind of doing a generic broad search without focusing in to make sure the individual, it's just based on names. Big data is being collected.
Yeah. Did
So
you
if
see
you
the
have,
movie? Did you see the movie Brazil?
no, I did not. Is that kind of the same
It's
idea?
exactly this. They're trying to catch somebody, and a fly flies into the printer. So they're trying to arrest Tuttle, but they arrest Buttle. And then they arrest him and ignore all his complaints and torture him. And,
So this is like the guy, what, maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years
yeah,
ago, who was a hot dog sales guy, worked in a, I don't know, hot like McDonald's fast food restaurant.
yeah,
When he was in his 20s, he kind of fell into hard times. He had a good buddy or a coworker there. The guy becomes homeless, goes to Los Angeles, I think Venice Beach, someplace, Southern California, where the other guy goes on and becomes an administrator in a hospital.
yeah,
And the administrator in the hospital is taking out loans and he's got a bank account. And the homeless guy finally gets some money. Or no, he gets some, I think, finds out that he's got a bank account and He goes into the bank. Now I'm kind of foggy on the story here, but he goes into the bank and he says, "Look, I didn't open up this account. I want to close it. And, give me the money or let's close out the account." And the bank says, "Okay, very good. What's your name?" The name matches. "What are the security questions?" He goes, "I don't know what the security questions are. I didn't open up the account."
Well,
They
that
said,
should be.
"Well, that sounds mighty suspicious to us. What's your social security number?" "Oh, that matches." "What's your driver's license?" "That matches." "Now, where have you lived for the past 10 years?" I'm homeless. I'm in Los Angeles." "Oh, no, no, no. That's not you. You you should be living in Iowa. We've got your address. You don't know. Obviously, you're the imposter." They call the police, they arrest him, they take him before the judge, and he keeps insisting that his name is his name.
Yeah,
And the judge says, "No, I think you're crazy." They put him in jail. I can't remember the order. I think jail for 6 months and a psychiatric hospital for a year and a half.
yeah,
And then he finally gets out. He writes to a police officer that's in Iowa where the other guy is. And he says, "Look, I'm a victim of impersonation.
yeah,
Here's the guy who impersonate, and here's my picture. And since you're local, verify me because this is where I was born. You could look at all this." He looked up all the information, and the guy who is the imposter accidentally on one government form, used either his real middle name. And that kind of alerted the police officer to dig a little bit deeper. Turns out that long story short, the police officer used DNA, and because uh, the real person had some surgery that was done, and they had years and years ago, and I guess they had a sample. He did DNA testing. DNA testing proved that the person in California was in fact the real person. The other guy was an imposter, and he took out loans, and he has a house and a wife and kids, all under the imposter's name, or using the
yeah.
real person. The imposter did that.
It's
Yeah.
surprising they didn't go for DNA testing earlier in the process. That would seem like such a simple solution.
Yeah, but where would you get the sample from?
Well, I don't know, but I think a lot of people do have
Right.
DNA samples on file. I'm surprised I haven't had to do that for teaching yet. But that'd be the next thing, make me give my DNA.
Yeah. I mean, this mistaken identity happens
Oh, yeah.
infrequently, but it happens.
Well, but now
It
identity
happens.
theft, that happens all the time, though, and it amounts to the same kind of thing.
Right. Right. How do you prove you are you?
Yes, especially once people start submitting false pictures and profiles all over the place.
Yeah.
Soon it'll
Yeah.
be, and this happens to historical figures too. Like they argue, do characters like Jesus Christ really exist, or is it just a myth? Because you have all these false records and you can't really tell what's going on.
Yeah. Well, at the time there was minimal, right,
Right,
documentation or yeah,
right,
writings. We
right,
didn't have cameras, so
right.
whatever your however you perceive Jesus to be is completely made up.
Yeah, well, just like any of these figures older than a few hundred years ago, all you've got is really sort of rumors about them.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
anyway, let's see. I got a couple other ones here. Oh,
Okay.
of course, the big one, of course, hitting everywhere. Marjorie Taylor Greene has resigned. Um,
What?
she resigned as of January 6th. Because Trump came out against her, and she started getting death threats. And she said, "Well, this is useless. What's the point of being in Congress anyway? Uh, and all I'm going to do is run for Republican primary. Trump is going to go against me. Then I'll win, and then I'll be expected to defend Trump when I just don't believe in Trump at all anymore. And this is garbage." And she quits. And I wasn't quite sure what to make of that because, yeah. Anyway, I wasn't quite sure whether this is a good or a bad thing, but apparently it is a very bad thing for MAGA because what she is doing, there's other people in Congress are seeing her as an example, saying, maybe I'll just quit too. Other Republicans, because Congress was out for 2 months doing nothing. Even when they're in, they do absolutely nothing. Trump just jerks them around, and they all see they're going to lose in the midterms. They're going to lose in 28. They're riding a plane that is on fire and sinking. And they're saying so many of them might just quit that the Democrats might get the majority before 26.
So, Sam, you're saying she quit?
Yeah, she quit Congress. She's resigning. She's not even finishing her 2-year term. She's resigning as of January 6th because that's when she will have 5 years in and get her pension. And she's
So
saying,
she's packing up all her boxes,
yeah, yeah, to hell with
filling
this.
all her boxes.
Yeah, and by the way, in case anybody is going to decide that she's really a good person, she came into Congress with $750,000, and she's done insider trading with the information on her panels in Congress. So now she has 26 million after 5 years, which is what they all do. They all find out from a congressional committee that some organization is about to get a contract or something, and they buy or sell the stock based on that and get rich. So they're all basically stealing money to get rich. But anyway, she would not go along with Trump on a few important issues like the Epstein files, and Trump turned against her. And she said, "Well," and I must agree, what's the point of being a Republican and opposing Trump? You might as well just quit, which is what she's doing. But
Yeah.
apparently, if 3 or 4 other Republicans quit, the Democrats will have the majority. And apparently, a lot of them are secretly communicating to like journalists and stuff, saying, I hate this place too. I think she's doing the right thing. I'm just going to quit too.
So did she announce this morning
Last night or so, within the last
or
couple of days.
last night?
She gave a
Okay.
very good speech. She's been going on all the shows explaining her rift with Trump and making sensible statements, which is very out of character for her. I mean, she was the QAnon conspiracy theorist. Uh, Lasers are setting fire to the California wildfires from
Right.
space, every crazy thing. Now suddenly she's talking sense, saying the healthcare premiums are too high and the Republicans shouldn't just abandon that and they should release the Epstein files and a couple other issues she's taking sensible positions on. So maybe she'll come back running for governor or president or something, or maybe she'll just go on TV and become a commentator, or who knows. But the fact is, she has enough money, and she said, "Why am I putting myself and my family through this? Forget it. I'm just gonna go do something else."
And do you know when she was first elected?
Uh, should it be about 1 year ago? Because she's halfway through a 2-year term, and
No, no, no.
she's in for 5 years. So I guess it's her third term in Congress. So that would have been what, 2018 or 2020? 2020, I guess.
Wait, that's when she first took public office.
I think so. I just heard she's just going to have completed 5 years by 2026 January. So I guess that means she won in 2020 November. And apparently she's very popular in Georgia. The people in Georgia like her.
Yeah, but I thought, wasn't she in office before? So she was first elected.
Yeah. I,
Um, I'm trying to look this up.
yeah.
Um, Assumed office January 3rd, 2021.
Yeah. So she won in November 2020.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So she wasn't in office in Trump's first term.
No, I think before that she was running a private business. I think she ran I know she's a big physical fitness advocate. I think she ran gyms or something. She's big on CrossFit.
Uh, so she promoted in her career. Let's see. Oh, wait, she was reelected in 2022.
Right.
Maybe I'm mistaken. 20, she was elected to Congress in 2020.
Yep. Then reelected in 22 and 24.
Oh, right, right. Got it, got it,
Yep.
got it. She's promoted in her career. She's is Islamophobic,
Oh yeah.
anti-Semitic,
And totally
white
against gay
supremacist,
people and trans people and
white genocide conspiracies,
oh yeah,
QAnon, Pizzagate,
all the far right crazy stuff.
the Clinton family murders,
Oh yeah. She was Trump's.
the attacks, the the attacks of 9/11 were a hoax.
Oh yeah. No,
Oh my
she's
gosh.
every far right conspiracy. She's basically Alex Jones in a dress. But she suddenly repented in like a few weeks ago and said she's sorry and she's not going to talk mean about people and say nasty things anymore. And then she just quits. So it's interesting.
Wait, wait. Before running for Congress, she supported calls to execute Democratic politicians, Hillary Clinton, Obama.
Oh yeah.
This is all from Wikipedia.
Oh, but this is all true. I mean, she was, and she's apologized for that because that's when she came out like a week ago and said she was uh, trying to change her ways. The interviewer said, but she said, we shouldn't be saying all these hostile things about the other party. It's poisoning the landscape. And she said, well, you were the one saying all that stuff. And she said, well, that's a fair criticism. I was, but I've decided all that toxicity is bad for the country and I'm going to quit. And, for at least a few weeks, she has quit. She's not saying all that stuff now. So,
All right, all right.
yep. Anyway, the main thing I think that matters is she's very influential. I mean, she's got to be one of the top 10 most famous Republicans. And I think her leaving may inspire others to leave. So that would be a very interesting twist if the Democrats get the majority because the Republicans just walk off the job. That would remind me of Britain. I don't know if you remember, but like 10 years ago in Britain, when before Boris Johnson, somebody won as prime minister and everybody just quit. Everybody in the government just walked off the job. A
Hmm.
fairly common problem in Britain that the government workers just walk off the job saying this is useless. And certainly I could see people doing that now. I mean, after Congress was completely out of session for 2 months, and even when they're in session, they do absolutely nothing. And Johnson just blocks everything important from coming to a vote. I would think just walking off the job is a pretty logical thing to do. So we'll see.
We will see. That's right. We
Yep.
will see.
Anyway, there's we've talked about this. They in addition to what Elon Musk had, where he put on that thing on Twitter so people could see how many accounts were foreign, there's an interesting article saying America's polarization has become the world's side hustle, explaining how a lot of the big mega accounts with like 1 million or 400,000 followers are run from countries like Nigeria, and they are not state-funded propaganda from like Russia, although that happens too. But what they are is someone just making money. It turns out if you're like in Nigeria or Pakistan or something, you can make more money by hooking up a couple of AI engines together and making a far right account on Twitter, and then you just get money from Twitter. And so they're just promoting our polarization and our dissension in the country with no idealism, no particular uh, concern about our politics. It's just a way to make money. They say it's the consequence of the revenue model of clicks. So we've created a financial incentive to create hatred inside our country, and people are exploiting it just to make money from foreign countries. So
Yeah, I see. I
it
see.
might make sense to do what Elon said all along he wanted to do is block these inauthentic actors. And apparently he did cancel some of those far right accounts after it was exposed that they were running from foreign countries. Because the terms of service of Twitter say you can't lie about what you are. You can't pretend to be like from Georgia and an American when you're actually from Nigeria. So if you actually enforce that evenly across the board, it might improve the platform, but I don't expect that to happen.
Yeah, yeah. So I wonder, do you know if any mention have there been a lot of stories of Christians in Nigeria being murdered?
I didn't
And
hear
I'm
about that.
wondering if that's, oh yeah, yeah. I wonder if that's propaganda or not.
Well, I don't know about Nigeria. I know there are various nations where they do Christianity is not the main religion and they're hostile to them and kill them and stuff. I never thought of Nigeria as one of those nations, but I guess I don't know what goes on in Nigeria.
Yeah, it's we don't know. And there was another story that more Christians were recently murdered in Nigeria.
It could be,
Yeah.
or it could be just a made up story just to get clicks.
Yeah, and I'm looking at an article. I don't know if this is true. It's called The Conversation that's asked the question, is there a Christian genocide in Nigeria?
Yeah.
And the headline responds, evidence show all faiths are under attack by terrorists.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess that's probably true.
Yeah. So it's it's okay. There's terrorism that's going on. So they're killing people.
Yeah.
But if you rank them or group them by what religion they are, then you can say that that religion is being terrorized or people in that religion are being murdered.
Well, I know in the US, whenever they investigate something, they try to decide if it's a hate crime or not because it has legal implications.
Here we go. I'm reading here. A campaign by a Congressman Riley Moore. Do you know who that is?
I don't.
I don't. Who alleged that there was an alarming and ongoing persecution of Christians
Yeah.
in the West African country. He said that, let's see, 7,000 Nigerian Christians had been killed in 2025 alone, an average of 35 a day.
Well, it could be true. It also could be a QAnon type conspiracy theory just to get attention.
Well, or he's just selecting,
Yeah.
saying that out of all the people that have been killed,
Yeah.
like Mexico is killing people, or the Mexican drug lords are killing people.
Yeah.
And if you count all the Christians that are
Yeah.
being killed, yeah.
Yeah.
Why aren't we talking about that? That's why are we going to Nigeria?
Yeah.
Because
Maybe,
because
maybe.
Mexico, right? A lot of them are Catholic Christians, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe Trump wants to invade Nigeria next. Who knows?
Yeah, there's talk about that.
If he thinks there's oil there or he thinks he can build a hotel there, he might want to invade it.
Or you can brand his oil as Trump oil.
Yep. Yep. Well, anyway, I think that's enough. Oh,
Yeah, I think that's enough for
actually, there's
today
one I should
too.
mention just locally.
Okay.
San Francisco Metropolitan Transit Association is going to upgrade the bus lane ticketing system. Apparently, right now, there's 20 people looking at cameras to try to see who's parking in the bus lanes, and it's not very efficient. So they're going to upgrade it, I think, with basically like automated cameras, and they expect the number of fines to rise by 500%. So I guess people beware
Mm.
in San Francisco. I guess parking in a bus lane is going to become much more likely that you'll get caught. I got caught by a red light camera a few weeks ago, and that's like a $500 ticket. And I've got the ticket, and I said, this must be fake. It says I violated the law by going 11 miles an hour. What is this garbage? Because I didn't stop completely at the stop sign. So the ticket camera detected that I went through the stop sign at 11 miles an hour, and that's a $500 ticket. So that's
Hmm.
annoying. Anyway, I guess I
Hmm.
would be very careful around the bus lanes in San Francisco now. It may be some kind of automated system will give you a ticket like that. So
But it's giving the car the ticket, not the driver.
they had a picture of me in the car.
Oh, so they take both.
Well, you could see me through the front. I mean, and I was there. I remember going there. I don't remember driving through the red light, but there was nobody around. I probably didn't thoroughly stop, you know.
Yeah.
And uh, that's why you kind of need to know. And that's why, if they were really to enforce every little thing like that, we'd all get tons of tickets all the time. It would make money for the government.
Right. Right.
Uh, and
And
so,
and yeah, and we've seen small cities that they you're going on the freeway 70 miles an hour and all of a sudden it's a 35 mile an hour zone.
yeah, yep, speed
So,
traps. Yeah,
yeah, well, they're not speed traps, but yeah. I mean, and they give a high number of tickets.
yep, yep. And I know
Yeah.
back when I used to see the cops would wait. There's a certain hill near the college where it's a kind of steep downhill, and there's a
Yep.
light at the bottom, and people tend to go through it. And every once a day, once a month, cop would hang out there handing out tickets because they have a quota every month, and he would just hang out there for like 4 hours and give out 50 tickets. And that was his quota for the month. So you could see it happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, all right, I guess that's it for this.
All right.
We'll have
We meet
another.
on Friday.
Yep, another one of these on Friday.
Sounds good. Thank you.